Manchester United 4, Melbourne victory 1. The second game of Erik ten Hag as Manchester United manager. And the second victory, Marcel. Positives still to take from that?
Yes, positives still to take from it, but very underwhelming. I think that the main thing is that it wasn't good enough that first half. And I'll be honest about that. There are a few players that were playing well. I mean, Sancho played well, but, the likes of Luke Shaw, Elanga, again, a second underwhelming performance. Maguire, just clearly there's going to be a huge issue there in terms of recovery pace, understanding and negotiation space and spaces behind him. The midfield, again, Scott McTominay does score, which is a positive, but not good enough for me. We're looking like, we took a little bit of a step back from that Liverpool performance, or that Liverpool 45 minutes. Again, it was against a second string team, but they just looked a lot better. Bruno was a lot more rash today and gave away the ball a lot of the time. So inconsistency with the work that Ten Hag wants us to do clearly showed with the more senior players. But then again, a game of two halves, because when the youth players come on, Owen, it's like a completely different change. And, it's similar lineup, I feel, in terms of what the Melbourne were producing. So, that midfield just looks a lot better with the two younger players, though. And it's quite surprising, to be honest with you. And would like to see, maybe we mix and match, a youth player with a more senior player and see how that works and how the dynamic works, because they look sharp, Didn't see much of Ethan Laird. I'm really liking how Deleu's making these runs and these underlaps, because it's working.
First half, because like you said, it was such a difference between the first half and the second half, particularly not just with the lineups, but just performance levels as well. We spoke before the game, and this is a day that Lisandro Martinez, we've got the Here We Go from Fabrizio Romano. We know that's happening. We spoke before about how does Harry Maguire fit in to the Erik ten Hag system. People will look at him for that first goal. Is he in an element of trouble now when it comes to a centre-back coming in that's going to start? There are other centre-backs at the club. Second half, Eric Bailly plays really well again, gets an assist for a goal. Is Maguire in a bit of trouble, do you think, despite being the captain?
100%. I mean, established captain is the word that my manager used, but, he's not really establishing himself in this team right now. Like you said, two big moments where, features of Maguire's game before, driving with the ball, Eric Bailly is doing it effectively and producing something with it. It's difficult. And Varane played well. Passing range was very good last game. Good passes over, long passing, short passes. So Maguire has a bit of an issue here. And Lindelof as well played well. So I would like to see Tuanzebe even ahead of Maguire at this rate. And I'll be honest with you. And he definitely does have an issue. Tellez, has been there to mimic the style that Martinez will come in with as a left-sided centre-back. So, I think that position is nailed down by him, and he's going to be fighting, for one spot with the likes of himself, Lindelof and Eric Bailly.
Talk to me about Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho, once again, impressive in that first half. Looks sharp. We've said it's a big season for him. Is he going to be one of those players that really does thrive under Erik ten Hag, do you feel?
Yes, and yes. And you made a good point as well. He was on the right side, and in the watch along, you made a good point. He was playing on the right side. It's really surprising to me. We saw him do, bums off seats kind of things on the left side last season, but on this right side, it's still very, clever. He's still in this very good, sharp state, and it looks good from him. And we want to see more. We want to see him to fit well. The combinations between him and Deleu's, just understanding with the runs and stuff, it looks good.
Finally, Charlie Savage, Zidane, Iqbal. People were raving about them after that game against Liverpool. Their impressive 45 minutes. Again, second half today, really impressive, really composed on the ball. Are they actually forcing their way into Erik ten Hag's plans, do you feel like? Because again, we look in the first half, Fred and McTominay weren't really up to snuff today. Is there a situation when possibly they could be looking at starting the next game?
Standouts in the midfield, even when the front line in the second half was underwhelming. I mean, unfortunately, you've got Chong and Ahmad that, haven't really stepped. Even Rashford, does score, but he didn't really impose himself enough on the game. A bit better than obviously Ahmad and Chong, of course, and even Donny. We haven't been able to see the Donny that we want to see. But these two young players have definitely stamped their authority in the last two games and showed good bits. This game maybe stamp more authority and dictate. The last game, showed that they're comfortable under pressure and taking responsibility. So would like to see more of them. And we haven't seen James Garner. So we've got to see him coming into the fold. We haven't seen Hannibal, so we've also got to see him to come into the fold. But these two in particular have looked like good, undiscovered gems right now.
Well, there you go. Manchester United continue their pre-season 100% record with a 4-1 victory over Melbourne Victory, ironically, but still plenty of work to do.